When my wife and I bought our cozy home in a quiet suburban neighborhood, I thought the hardest part of moving in would be unpacking boxes, but no one warned me about Karen, the self appointed queen of our HOA. It all started with a mailbox. Yes, a mailbox. The old one was rusty and leaning. So I decided to replace it with a beautiful black cast iron one eyed scene online. It had a classic lantern style top and a brass nameplate with our family name engraved, a small touch to make the house feel like home. 2 days after installing it, a letter arrived. Ironically, not in my shiny new mailbox, Karen hand-delivered it. The letter, written in overly formal language, politely informed me that my mailbox was non-compliant with HOA guidelines and must be removed immediately. I double-checked the HOA handbook and couldn't find a single mention of mailbox design rules. So I ignored her letter. Big mistake. The next morning, Karen stood at the end of my driveway, snapping photos like she was building a legal case. "This mailbox is a violation," she shouted. "It disrupts the aesthetic harmony of our street." I calmly told her that mailboxes are actually regulated by the U.S. Postal Service, not homeowners associations. That didn't sit well with her. She threatened fines, legal action, and even called a board meeting to vote on whether my mailbox should be banned. That's when I decided to bring in some backup. I called the local post office, explained the situation, and to my surprise, the postmaster himself agreed to come by. The next day, Karen was already waiting at my driveway, arms crossed, ready for battle. When the postmaster arrived in full uniform, clipboard in hand, her smug smile faltered. He inspected the mailbox, nodded approvingly, and said, "This is perfectly up to USPS standards. In fact, it's a great mailbox." Karen sputtered, but it doesn't match the others. The postmaster raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, HOA rules don't override federal regulations. If you try to tamper with this mailbox, that's a federal offense." Karen turned red as a tomato and stormed off without another word. Since then, my beautiful cast iron mailbox has stood proudly at the end of my driveway, a small monument to standing up to unnecessary HOA drama. And Karen? She hasn't said a word to me since.